Hello, and welcome to ROM Detectives. We're going to be playing around with the ROM of The Legend of Zelda this time, and I'm going to show you some interesting aspects with the sword in this game. If you want, go ahead and go to romdetectives.com. That will get you a lot of information about what I'm going to be doing in this video. I'm using the emulator Mezen, which has a really nice feature where it allows us to modify the game's RAM while we play. So I'm going to go ahead and start up a new game here. And most of you are already familiar with the fact you come in here, you get the wooden sword. What I want you to do is take a look at this piece of this memory address right here. It's 0657. When we get this sword, it is going to change. And boom, it went to 01. That lets us know, or lets the game know, that we have the wooden sword. Now, ordinarily you would go and you'd have to get your heart containers and then find the old man who would give you the white sword, or you can just come right in here and set it to 2. And there we go, now we've got the white sword. Another thing we can do is just set it to 3, and now we have the magic sword. That was easy. I'm just going to show you, yes indeed. Well, these guys die from one hit anyway, don't they? Let's go over to something a bit more substantial. By the way, I've got invincibility turned on, so I don't have to worry about dodging. So let's go ahead and get some blue Octoroks. Here we go, and yes, we do indeed have our magic sword. Now, there's another thing. You're probably already thinking to yourself, okay, 0 for no sword, 1 for wooden sword, 2 for white sword, 3 for magic sword. What happens if we put in a 4? This is very interesting. We now have a red sword with a blue handle. It's using the palette of these green Moblins here, or the Zora, if you will. And you'll notice here it's quite powerful. It's killing everything in one hit. Actually, let me show you just how powerful it is. I've got a save state here. Now, ordinarily, I'm going to switch this back to the magic sword. A blue Lionel, get out of the way. A blue Lionel with a magic sword takes 2 hits. But with this red sword, with this Moblin sword, boom, 1 hit. So this is a very powerful melee attack. But what's really odd about this sword is that its long range takes 3 hits to kill a green Moblin. That makes it the same strength as the wooden sword, which is very odd, right? Its melee does 1 hit, but its ranged takes 3 hits. Let me show you another thing that's weird about this. Here's the entrance of the first dungeon. Now, because this sword is using the 4th palette in the sprite palette list, it's going to change whenever the sprite palette changes. And one of the spots where that happens is in the underworld. Take a look. Now we've got the sort of blue and cyan sword. Now it's just as powerful, it does as much damage as it did before. But, well, I don't know why I'm fighting you guys. You guys barely even take a hit as it is. You'll notice even as you brandish it, it is actually the blue sword now. But like these Stalfos over here, for example, they'll go down in a single hit. But the ranged attack still takes 2. That's true for pretty much all of the underworlds. Another spot that's really weird, jumping over here, watch the color of the sword this time. Went to blue and green. This is something that happens in every one of these secret passageway rooms. The palette shifts to the background. I'm not entirely sure why this occurs. Maybe somebody out there who's done a bit more digging into the ROM can answer it for me. But watch, I'm going to go to, we're now by the seaside and the mountains, and we've got the blue and the brown and the tan, which is again the background. If I leave this room, it goes right back to the red, the Moblin palette. So that's a very strange sword. Now, of course, we've got to 4. What happens if we go to 5? Let me get us back to here, and I'm going to switch us to sword number 5. A wooden sword. Although, it looks like a wooden sword, but watch this. Now, ordinarily, these guys would fall after, like, I think it's like 4 for the red and 6 for the blue. You cannot do a single bit of damage to them with this sword. This is like a broken sword. It does nothing. I've got them stun lock here, and they just will not fall. I can do this all day. They're not going to take a hit. But the ranged attack, excuse me, still does damage. It does the range damage of a wooden sword, but no melee at all. That is a very unusual sword. What would be kind of fun is if you made a save state with this sword, sword number 5, and gave it to a friend of yours and then say, hey, play this game. See if you can kill these guys. And like, dude, don't you know how to play the game? Why can't you kill them? Another weird sword is to go to number 6, and that gives us a white sword. This does as much damage as a magical sword. Actually, I'm kind of curious. Is this going to kill a blue Lionel in one hit? Yes, so it does huge amounts of damage, but again, the ranged attack is super weak. It does as much damage as a wooden sword in ranged attack, so it takes forever. And now probably another really strange, this is one that's going to blow your mind, we're going to go to number 7. We have a sword using the normal sprite, but the magic sword's palette. And this is another one that is, its ranged attack does the same as the wooden sword, but let me come over here and let me get one of these guys stun lock here. This one, it does actually do damage, it just does a minuscule amount of damage. I can hit these guys for a while and they will eventually die. There's one's gone. It takes forever, but you will kill them eventually. This is just something that's just very strange about this game. Now, regarding these swords, I don't think that these were intended by the developers. I don't think they purposely made... Oh, if you're curious, by the way, if we go to 8, it takes us back to that Moblin Sword. 9 goes back to the wooden sword. A goes to the white sword again, and B comes back to the magic sword. And it just keeps looping like that. That's why I don't think that these are intended to be here by the developers. I think this is something that was sort of left accidentally. I believe the way the swords work, and don't quote me on this, I haven't dug into it deeply enough, but I believe for each sword that you have, it uses an offset in the ROM to figure out how much damage it's supposed to do. And then it uses that lookup to find out how much damage it's supposed to do. But there's only 3 swords in the game, so there's only 3 spots available in that table to say this is how much damage they're supposed to do. So I think what's happening is when you switch to like sword number 4, the Moblin Sword, what you're doing is you're finding an area in memory that's not supposed to be addressed by swords, which is why it does a ridiculous amount of damage. I'm actually kind of curious how much it truly does. Like if I were to hit like a boss that takes like a lot of hits, would it still kill it in one hit? I believe it would. Anyway, that's one of the interesting things about the swords in The Legend of Zelda. I'm going to try and put out some more of these videos here of me just playing around with different values in the ROMs. Again, if you want more information about this, go to www.romdetectives.com. There's a really nice wiki that's been put together. It allows all sorts of easy cheats into the game where you can do like Game Genie codes, and it maps out a lot of the RAM and ROM and text information in various games. So thanks a lot. I hope to see you in the next one.